Good morning and welcome on this Friday morning. Apologies if you can hear the drip, drip, drip of the snow melting off of the roof onto the conservatory roof. We seem to be sort of balancing, seesawing between flurries of snow and periods of thaw at the moment. So none of it is staying around for very long. It's dropping on us and then disappearing, and then some more is coming. But wherever you are, and whether you are on a snow day or whether you are enjoying glorious sunshine, wherever you are, welcome. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based here in the UK, fairly centrally in the UK. So we tend to always miss the worst. I shouldn't say that out loud, but we tend to always miss the worst of the weathers. We're down in the River Valley here. I'm in this part of Northamptonshire. I always say our subtropical weather, but it's very subtropical, does tend to keep the worst of the weather away. So we have had snow, but I haven't even managed to make a snowman. But no making snowmen this morning. We're going to be concentrating on making cards. So let me introduce myself first of all. If you are new here, my name is, Helen, and this is where you will find me under my business name, Love-a-Duckie. So my website is loveaduckie.co.uk, and that's where you'll find all my links to classes and shops and blog posts and downloadable tutorials and all sorts of things over on my website. So do go and check that out. That gives you details of joining teams, hosting events, all sorts of things over there. So that is the hub where you will find all things Love-a-Duckie. But if you're looking for me anywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, then you'll look out for Love-a-Duckie, and hopefully you will find me. Look out for my little duck, and that's where I will be. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things that are coming up. Booking is now open for my craft retreat that is happening on the 3rd of June. Don't know why I've got the 4th of June in my head. 3rd of June, Saturday, June the 3rd, here in Northamptonshire, in a little village hall in a village of Wadnow, down by the river. Really pretty area and a lovely hall. And that's where we will be retreating to for the day, to enjoy lots of crafting, lots of eating, and lots of friendship and fun. And if you would like to join me, then details are all over on my website. But I am taking deposits now. Places are limited. There's a limit to how many people we can comfortably cater for in the village hall. So do get in touch if that's something that you would like. If you don't live near enough to be able to come, and you would still like all of the inspiration and the crafting that we're doing and the product gift bag and all of those sorts of things, but you're not able to make it in person, then there is the option of a retreat in a box. And likewise, I can take deposits now, and payment will need to be by the beginning of May. So full payment by the beginning of May. So if you're interested in any of those things, do check out the website, do message me. We would love to have you along. They're always great days, and they're good fun, and we'd love to have you there. The only other event I'm really going to highlight, there's a couple of other events coming up there, but the only other one is that at the end of the month, 31st of March, I have got an online Completely Crackers games night. So it doesn't matter where you are in the UK, you can come and join us via Zoom. I'll send you a kit out with your bingo cards or games cards or whatever we're going to be doing. We normally have a bit of a mixture of bingo and quizzes and all sorts of weird and wonderful things we've done in the past, and some crafting, of course. So if you would like to join us for that fun evening, that is £10. But most of that money gets invested back into the prizes that you could possibly win on that night. So again, it would be lovely to have you. Booking is open. Do let me know if you'd like to come to our games night. All my other classes and things you'll find over on my website, or reach out to me, and I'll also always fill you in. And if you are here locally and would like to pop in and see what we're doing at any point, then do message and we can arrange for that so that you can come and see what those classes and things look like. It's always lovely to welcome visitors. But that's enough of news, albeit positive and good news. Let's bring in my downward facing camera and let's have a little look at what we're going to be playing with today. So I think with all this snow and this cold, we need a bit of a reminder that spring is on the way. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Spring is indeed on the way, and we're going to be having a bit of a play with the Nested Friends bundle. This is a beautiful bundle, and I think the nest, particularly the nest stamp image and die images in this bundle, are probably the best I've ever seen. They are just stunning. So we have here a stamp set, and we have a set of dies to go with it. Here we have the little, I'll show you those in a bit more detail in a minute, but here we have the samples. Morning, Lisa. Samples that the Stampin' Up team have created. So you can see there's not a nest or a bird in sight on this one. It's just those branches. And here we have the little die cut nest, little eggs, and all those little leaves. There's lots of little dies to help create all those little leaves. And if we flick to the back, have another little sample just here, and that again is using the dies, the stamped birds, but the die cut nest and the branches and things that are all available in this bundle. It's really lovely and really shouts springtime, with birds nesting and baby birds on the way, and yeah, it really shouts to us that spring is coming. So on these cold and snowy days that we're having at the moment here in the UK, what better than to remind ourselves that spring is coming. Now, I've picked out a couple of different things. Not quite sure where we're going to be going this morning. There's nothing unusual there, is there? But I have picked out a couple of things that sort of reminded me of spring. One is I haven't got very much left of this pack now. This is the Country Gingham pack. But these lovely ginghams, we've got the sweet sorbet, but the other colours in there are all these sort of, you've got balmy blue and mint macaron and some petal pink. So I think they're sort of quite spring-like. They're part of the Country Floral Lane suite. Really pretty papers. And the other thing I dug about, I was looking for some papers the other day and came across these, and I thought, oh, I've played with those for a little while. So these are the brush strokes papers that come from the annual catalogue, and you've got some Blushing Bride, you've got some Soft Succulent there, and you have got some Night of Navy. But they've got this gorgeous shimmer to them, but they've also got this sort of leafy, feels almost leafy, feathery print in the background. They're just beautiful papers. And I thought, oh, might have a bit of a play with those. We won't necessarily be putting both of those things together in one project. Perhaps we'll put one in one and one in the other. We'll see how we go. So I think we'll have one where we play with the nest, the stamped nest, and one where we play with the die cut nest, and see and decide what we're going to add in as we go along. So in terms of the stamp set, you've got, as I say, this beautiful nest image just here. You've got the little splatter, you've got this pretty little bird, you've got the branch, and then you've got some really nice sentiments. Always thinking of you, birthday wishes, thank you, best friends make the good times better and the hard times easier. So that's a really lovely sentiment there. And then dies, you've obviously got a die that is going to cut out your branch, one for your big nest, one for your little bird. And then you've got these two dies that you can either use separately or together to build up a really detailed 3D nest. You've got lots of these. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here of these dies, and each of these dies cuts out 3 small leaves. So just by running those 4 dies through, you get 12 little leaves. So in one run through, you can get lots of leaves for your project, which is really fabulous. And then you've got this little die here that is going to cut you out a trio of little eggs to go in your nest. So as I say, a really lovely bundle. Let's put these to one side. I quite like that those leaves are all sort of together in on one bigger die, so that all those lots of leaves are been bundled together into a bigger die. I think it makes them a little less likely to go missing. So that's the trouble when you've got really tiny ones. If you drop it on the floor, it is the devil's own job to find it again. So let's take our nest stamp, and you can just see the detail in that. You've got all the twigs and the leaves surrounding it. You've got the shading in there. Just is a beautiful stamp. So I'm going to stamp it onto some basic white card, and then we'll cut it out with the die that goes with it. I'm going to go soft suede. Let's ink that up. Tap, 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 tap. And we'll stamp that onto there. I'm going to take a blending brush, and where we've got all the twiggy bits just here, I'm going to use my blending brush to drag out that colour going round the leaves. We'll add a bit of colour into the leaves in a minute. Now we're just using the colour in the ink that we've used to stamp the image, dragging it out in order to fill that in. Make sure we've got all those bits. I'm going to come in my watercolour pencils, I think. The other leaves, I've got an old olive here. Go in where this vein is down the middle and lay down an old olive pencil. Just a little bit of nest I've missed just there. So just where this shading is, bringing in some of this old olive pencil. Bringing this blender brush, and again drag that colour out. And down here. There's a little one just here. Let's give him some colour too. I'm going to scribble on my mat to take that colour away. I think I'm just going to come in with my pencil and just add that in. Let's have a look. Let's come in with some garden green pencil and just add a bit of garden green to these leaves down the back here, because they're a different sort of a leaf. And come in with a spot of Daffodil Delight just there. We'll bring in a little bit of early espresso, and I'm just going to add a bit more shading to this centerpiece here, just a bit more colour, just to darken that up a little bit. There, so we have a little nest looking all tangly and woven and just like nests should be. And we'll come in a minute and we will die cut that with our die. Let's also bring in, oh, I just lost the lid to my blender pen. To put my branch on a block. I'm going to come in with early espresso, I think. Slightly dark brown. Right, I'm again going to come in with old olive on these leaves. Just going to put pencil down on these though. I'm not going to come in with my blender brush on that bit, because if I do, it will blend the brown ink from the trunk with the green of the leaves. But I am going to bring in my blender pen and just blend out. Let's see if the other end is a bit better. I seem to have had my blender pens a long time, but they're still going okay. I just think perhaps it's nearly time to treat myself. You could of course do, if you haven't got a blender pen, you could use water brush and water. You might be better to have stamped it onto shimmery white card or watercolor card if you're going to do that. If you use the blender pens too much, if you work it too hard, that will pill the card as well, but I'm being quite gentle with it, so you can only get away with it if you're a bit gentle. So there's our branch with its leaves. So we've got a nest, we've got a branch, we've got a die for our branch too. And then we need a little bird. what colour shall we do, you little bird? I might come in with Blushing Bride actually, and then that will be a perfect excuse to bring in my Blushing Bride paper. I overstamped that a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to die cut there as well. And I'm going to drag this colour out just a little. Let's come in and give her, I think we'll go with the yellow beak. Come in just a little bit of, this is the Calypso Coral. Over her head a little bit there, around there. Let's blend that all together. And bring a bit more in over on her head, just to make this piece slightly darker. And on the tip of this wing a little bit, I think. And on her tail. So I've overstamped her slightly. That colour looks very funny on the screen, but I promise you it's quite a pretty pink on my card. So let's let us just pop that blend brush away for a minute and bring in the little bird die as well. Morning, Jackie. Hope you're feeling much better now. Got a very fluffy jumper on this morning. I always tend to just lay my masking tape over something a bit fluffy just to take a little bit of the tackiness off of it. Right. I think while I'm cutting things out, no, I'm going to wait because I haven't decided what sort of a greeting I want yet. So let us die cut the nest, the bird, and the branch. have a look at what we've got here. So a branch, a bird, and a nest. A little bird to be sitting on. Let's pop those dies back over on the magnetic sheet. And we know where they are if we want them in a moment. Moving my trolley a bit closer, it seems to have wandered off. Right, let's have a little look. So pretty. This paper. Might need some vellum. Possibility of some shaded spruce. Let's have a little look. Quite pretty combination. Grab my trimmer and cut a piece of old olive down so that it is 40.4, no, 10. Anyway, oh, that certainly didn't look quite right, by 14.4. A piece of soft suede to create a card base. Put a piece there, it won't matter which way it goes. Which way shall we go? Let's have that piece. Let's score that at 10.5 to make our card base. There's our card mat. I'm going to take a piece of vellum and just tear it. Sorry to anybody that's twitchy about paper tearing. We'll cut that to 14.4. cut this. Let's go 6 centimeters wide. Yeah, and we'll make that 14.4. And I'm also going to tear that. Really being mean to the people that have advanced to paper tearing. Gee, I think we might go with an always thinking of you. And I think we'll go soft suede with that. A little strip of basic white. Ooh. Seem to have had scissors go walkies. There they are. And my little bit of paper I just tore. There it is. You could add a little bit of that under there. Just run a little tiny bit of Tombow down there. And I'll attach that. To the bottom of there, just to give it a fancy end. I'm going to come in with the spotty stamp and some old olive ink. I'm going to add some spots to this background piece of card. Let's just slide those off there for a moment. I'll come down this side as well where it's peeking out the other side. Far enough over? Yes, it is. Right, I'm going to run some Tombow down here and attach the vellum to the back of this. And then I'll glue this piece on here, obviously avoiding getting glue where it shows underneath the vellum. A little spot more down the bottom there. There we go. And let's bring in a branch. Come across here. And this to sit on the top. I've taken that a little bit high. Pop some dimensionals on the back of our little bird. Go have her sitting this side of the nest. Might bring her across just a bit more, about there. This bit coming in the bottom. Bring in some linen thread. Paper tearing just for you, Vonnie. Yes, indeed it was. Sorry, I tried to make it quick and as painless as possible. You can always find a sort of border die or something to get a similar sort of effect. Come on round. Tie that in a knot, tie it in a bow. Do your ears hang low. Let's put some dimensionals underneath that as well. And stick that to our soft suede card base. Thinking about finding a bit of basic white insert. Just the trimmer and cut that down to 13.9 by 9.5. And I think I'm just going to take my nest, ink that up again. And we'll just have a partial nest coming in on this bottom corner, just there. Stick inside. What pretties shall we put on there? Might take some of these pretty pink pearls. To add on there. You've got that pretty pearlized paper in the background there, really pretty. You've got your blushing bride bird sitting on the nest. She doesn't show up on camera as prettily as she does in real life, but just the detail in this nest is just incredible. It is a lovely stamp. So always thinking of you. So if you are wondering if anybody is thinking of you, then yes, we're always thinking of you. So there's one little card using the stamps. Let's bring out the dies. Now I think we'll have a few little leaves. We'll want a bird. We'll want some eggs. Oh, what papers to use? I think I'm going to go in the background with this small gingham check. Cut this down to 9.5 by 13.9. I might take a border die. Let's cut this to 9.5 wide. Then I'm going to use one of these border dies just to cut a bit off the top. Centralize that up as much as I can. Let me run that through the machine. And have like a sort of like a pocket, doesn't it, in the middle of there? Pocket of mint macaron. Make a mint macaron mat. That was 10 by 14.4. That will sit on the top there. My stash of pre-folded white card is running low. Need to do a few more, but we'll have a white card base on there. So that was just a piece of thick basic white, cut in half, scored in half. So that's already looking nice and spring-like, isn't it? Just with those colours. We're going to bring in our nest. I think we'll stick with mint macaron for the leaves we're going to be adding in. So let me just cut myself a bit of mint macaron. I will run all the 4 dice through, and then you'll see how many leaves you get just from one pass through. And to find a little bit, hopefully, rustle, rustle, rustle. I have a little bit of balmy blue cardstock. Just be as small as that. Let's clean this stamp up. Oh, landslide. Just spritz my stamping scrub. This quick clean up. I don't want green ink on it. I want balmy blue. Because I'm going to take that little piece of cardstock, I'm going to take my dots, and I'm going to add dots to there. What die is it that has just slid off? The nest one. You'll have to excuse me in a minute while I go digging about for that. So I'm going to use the spotty card to die cut those eggs so that I get spotty eggs. I'm going to use a piece of soft suede for this background piece of my nest, and a piece of crumb cake, digging about, finding a bit that's about the right size without being too big. Will it fit on there? Not quite. Wants to be a smidge wider, a smidge longer. It's amazing how much surface area it actually covers. I think I'm going to go in for one of these pieces and just cut a piece off. There we go. So we've got our really detailed twiggy bit that we're going to do in crumb cake, the back of the nest that we're going to do in soft suede. Add those to my leaves and my eggs. Just locate my top plate. Run that through. Let's slide all of that off. Spotty eggs, little leaves. So we have 3 little spotty eggs. Lots of little leaves, so that is just run through of all 4 dies. We'll give you all of those little leaves. Eggs. We have our fancy die piece. See, this is quite delicate and I don't want to force it out. We'll poke it until it will release of its own free will. Got a bit of a hold on it now. Got all of these pieces that will now pop out. And the chances are, had I run this die through on its own with no other dies on the plate, it would have popped out much quicker. They are all cut. But because you've got various dies on the mat at the same time, and the pressure of the machine is shared out among them, if you like, rather than concentrated on just one die. Come out. Last 2 little bits. Are we there? So you've got this piece here that you could very well just use on its own, and I've seen lots of projects that are just using that piece on its own. Now I've got little bits of twiggy bits caught up with my leaves and eggs. And then we've got this nest just here, and you can see there's lots of embossed detail in there. So again, you can use that piece on its own, or you can combine the two. To create great detail on this This nest I am going to, she says optimistically, take a blending brush and some soft suede ink. I'm just going to gently come over the top of here. Just to bring a bit of soft suede into that top and just bring the two colours a bit closer together, if you like, by making the top one slightly darker. There's not quite such the contrast. Let us just add in it's not a heavy die cut at all, so you don't need masses of glue, and I'm not worried about it all being stuck flat either. I'm quite happy for it to be a bit sticky uppy and a bit twiggy. And for that reason, you don't have to worry if you're not spot on over the top of each other. It can all be a bit twiggy. We have our little eggs just here. I'm going to pop those in the nest. With a bit of luck, be able to snug them over that underneath that front branch so they actually look like they're in the nest rather than on the sitting perched on the top. Now I'm just wondering, I was wondering if I needed a stitch circle or anything, but I don't think I do. I think that will sit quite nicely on there. We have all these little leaves that we're going to be able to tuck in, but I'll stick my nest on first before I do that. Do I want a bird? Do we want a little bird sitting on the nest? I think we do, don't we? I think we need to have Mummy Bird there. So let's find the stamp for Mummy Bird. Of course, that's very sexist. It could very well be Daddy Bird. We shouldn't assume. I'm going to stamp Mummy Bird in soft suede. Grab a little bit of card. Let's gather up my leaves. I'm going to take some balmy blue, I think, and the small blending brush. Let's just tap some of that off. I'm going to add a bit of balmy blue. To our bird. I'll take another blending brush and some soft suede. And just come round the edge with some soft suede as well. Let's bring in a calypso coral, and I'll just add a bit of a colour to her beak with some calypso coral. It actually brings some doing a bit of pink around there as well, or the Calypso coral, so it tones in quite nicely with the brown. And then obviously when we cut her out, we shall lose the colour around the edge, and we'll just have colour on our little bird. So let me cut her out. Right. We'll make this one a thank you. Again, I think we'll stick to soft suede ink. That's not quite a wide enough piece. That would work. Bringing in a bit of balmy blue. Right, let's do a little bit of sticking things together. So we'll start with our mint macaron matte on our card base. And we'll add our balmy blue check. And our mint macaron pocket. And I think I'm going to stick the little bird on there. I'm just going to add a bit of Tombow just to stick her in here. Then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. To raise the whole nest up. Like that. Now I've not forgotten my little leaves. We're probably not going to want all of these. So I'm just going to some of them around the nest, and again I'm just putting some glue on the ends. I'm not worried about it being stuck all over. Can have some coming underneath. Ooh. Keep finding the little bits that have popped out from the inside of that fancy nest. So you can see how that run through with that set of dies gives you more than enough leaves. What you're going to want to add to your nest. Obviously, if we'd have got a branch, we could have added some more to the branch as well. To bring in my thank you, I'm going to put some, tie a bow. In fact, I think we might go double bow. A basic white. Why not? Let's live dangerously. I want that to come on the top of there. Yes, I think we do. So I'll put the dimensionals on here. Let us find a glue dot. Where are you, glue dots? There you are. A little glue dot. On there. I might add in some little leaves on here as well. We have them, we might as well use them. One little set in the middle there. And then some of these balmy blue embellishments here. Just to finish him off. Oh, we've gone, I've done it again. Knocked my mouse. Sent us to dual view. Just move those out the way in a minute. Let me just find a bit of room to bring in, still got a couple of little leaves left there, to bring in those 2 cards. So one is using the stamped, the nest stamped, and those pretty papers in the background, and the other is using the dies. They are just such a beautiful bundle. So some really pretty spring-like cards, using those nested friends, stamps and dies. Just what we need, as I say, on a wintry, cold morning, to make us remind us that spring is indeed on the way. In fact, as I was driving around yesterday, I was looking at all the snow that was covering blossom on a tree, and yeah, covering daffodils and things, because it's relatively late to be having so much snow. But yeah, I'm sure that spring will break through regardless. So I hope you've enjoyed those 2 little projects, and I will be back with you on Monday morning. In the meantime, whatever you're doing, have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you very, very soon.